Well, I'd like to welcome first, we have General K.S. Brar. He was the commander, he was in charge of Operation Bluestar. And he joins us from Mumbai, I think. Welcome. I have Tom Watson, he's a Labour MP, and he's joining us from London. Mr. Watson, thanks for joining us. With me in the studio is Brigadier retired Israr Rahim Khan. He was commanding officer of the 10 Guards Battalion in Operation Bluestar. Is with me in the studio. Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, senior leader of the BJP, is with me in the studio. G. Parthasarathy, former High Commissioner to Pakistan, was at that point of time Consul General in Karachi. He has historical facts on this.
To look this
I hope
way
we
or
will
that
share
way.
them today. Thank you for joining us. Manjit Singh GK, President of the Delhi Gurdwara Parbandhak Committee, live from our studios in Delhi as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen. The Congress Party was supposed to be represented, but the Congress Party has chosen to pull out its representative at the last minute, though I think it will be difficult to avoid answers on this subject. What do you think, Subramaniam Swamy?
Of course. I mean, they have to answer questions.
What is the basic thing they have to answer?
Well, first of all, there are many aspects of the Operation Bluestar which have not come out in the public domain. And since now there's more than 30 years, almost 30 years. First of all, at that time, the General Officer in Command, S.K. Sinha, had very explicitly opposed this Operation Bluestar. He had in fact said this is not last resort, there are 1,000 other ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And Britain was the country which was giving sanctuary to the Khalistanis.
Yeah.
The headquarters of the Khalistan was in London.
Yeah.
Now you go and ask that country how you should conduct the operations there. It's a shocking indication of the mentality. I think this problem seems to be perhaps with the Nehru family. They consulted on Kashmir, Edwina Mountbatten, now the British on this Operation Bluestar. We need a full-fledged probe. We want the entire documents to...
Yeah, you want an investigation into
Absolutely.
Okay, General Brad, let's have an investigation into this, says Subramaniam Swamy. Investigate it. You were the man in charge of Operation Bluestar, along with Brigadier retired Israr Rahim Khan here today. Let's have an investigation. You'd agree? Let's open up the files. Let's find out the extent to which the British were involved. General.
Sure. You're most welcome to open up any number of files. I can emphatically tell you that there was no advice rendered and no involvement of the British government as far as Operation Bluestar is concerned. Perhaps, as is being mentioned on the media, some advisor had come 2 or 3 months earlier. Well, Operation Bluestar was not in the offing at that time. Operation Bluestar really started on the 1st of June. So whatever advice was given, if any was given, to the Prime Minister of India, well, either it was heeded or it was rejected.
So what is the business? Subramaniam Swamy, you buy that line, please. One sec. Subramaniam Swamy, you buy that line. What is the business of the British to poke their nose into our affairs, and why were we allowing them in?
Exactly. The issue is, this is a country which has ruled your country for 200 years in a most brutal way, extract the resources, try to divide our people, and now you're asking them for advice after they're having a headquarters of the Khalistan in London. I can't understand what kind of mentality it is. And secondly, it is not June 1 that you decided to hold Operation Bluestar. I myself at that time was very much involved. I went many times to Punjab. Gyani Jail Singh asked me to speak to Mrs. Gandhi as early as February. He said that you please go and tell her that this is going to have a boomerang effect on her. I myself told Mrs. Gandhi at that time. So the whole thing was up in the air at that time. It was going to be done. Something was going to be done because Bhindranwala went out of control. Well, the fact is, Brigadier, I don't want to dispute what you did. I'm not questioning your valor, the risks you and your men took and the sacrifices they made. My question is simply this: why were the British allowed in? How is it that you did not know? Because you have consistently denied it. Now, why should the British government lie to us? And that also on record. Yes, sir, please. Yes, please, sir.
You see, this word, Bluestar, this code word, was given to the operation when the army was told to plan for it. And that was as late as 30th of May, the 5th of June. So there were 5 days in which this code word was given.
There was no... The fact is military assistance was sought advice was given?
No, but between the two governments, if the intelligence agencies share some information or intelligence, I can tell you for sure that it was not even shared with the army.
So why did the UK
provide? It was no good for the army to have. Army was unaware of this operation, and the journalist there, you ask him, he was off on a holiday for 1 month's leave to Philippines. On the 29th, he was on his way to Delhi airport from Meerut, where he was stationed.
Sir,
and he was pulled out of there to lead this operation, which was not even conceived at that time.
So you accept today, you and General Brad accept that it is possible that advice was given. The fact is, you see, as I've begun and prefaced
the two governments politically, what they share is none of army's business.
Surely none of the business.
And that was not shared certainly with the army.
It is the country's business.
And the journal will bear me out.
But it is the country's business, isn't it?
No, we were not allies with the British. What is the meaning of sharing information with some other country? Will we share information with Pakistan whether what we should do in Operation Bluestar? Obviously not.
Well, Mr. Parthasarathy has justified it in his last appearance.
May I come in, Arnab?
Let me be very, very clear.
Arnab, may I come in for a minute?
In B. Raman's book.
As Brigadier Israr Khan has just told you, Operation Bluestar was only begun on the 1st of June. So if any advice was given before that, it would have been for some other operation. They could have been planning a different operation. It is possible that 3 months earlier, before Bhindranwale had moved into the Akal Takht, and he was still living in the outskirts of the Golden Temple, this operation could have been planned. But it had nothing to do with Bluestar.
Sir, the question is very simple. You are saying as the man in charge of Bluestar and Brigadier Israr Khan with you, you are saying we didn't know, army did not know. My question is, I did not know that our government, my government, went to the British and said, we want your military intelligence advisors to travel to India, and that is between 8th and 17th of February to advise the Indian intelligence services and special groups on the contingency plans that they were drawing up for the operations against those who were inside the temple complex, including a ground reconnaissance of the site. Sir, I think that's gross interference in India's internal affairs. I have no other word to describe it. Let's go across to London. I'm coming to you, Mr. Parthasarathy. Tom Watson, Labour MP. You've heard the reactions here from the British Army officer, Indian Army officers who say we did not know, Mr. Watson. What was the extent of this advice, and did it come specifically on a request from the Indian government?
Well, the Foreign Secretary has today given a statement where he said it was a request from the Indian government that advice was given, that the advice included some form of advice on an actual attack on the temple, although the advice was only do this as a last resort. Now, I don't want to get into a row about whether the British should be there or not. If you ask my opinion, it was a mistake that we were asked. It was a mistake that then government accepted it. And the other thing the Foreign Secretary admitted was it was a decision taken in secret by our Prime Minister and Foreign Secretary. They didn't get authorisation from the Cabinet, let alone Parliament. And so we are left with more questions in the United Kingdom about why on earth we would involve ourselves in giving military advice to a nation as powerful as India on a subject so controversial.
Mr. Watson, I'm extremely sorry. I think I have a bad audio line there with you. But while I thank you, I'm going to recap the basic point he makes there. He says very clearly this was advice, Mr. Parthasarathy, specifically on an attack on the Golden Temple. It's quite specific. It's not in thin air.
And the helicopter should be...
Let us analyze this coolly, and I'll just say my piece, and please let me finish it. Firstly, it is normal for our intelligence agencies to have direct link-ups with other intelligence agencies. Whatever Mr. Swamy may say, British blah blah, we have still continuing links with the intelligence agencies of Britain. We still have Do you know, Mr.
This is a sense of patriotism that you have with everybody and ask them.
What is your objection to what?
My objection to it is that I would assume a patriotic government would understand that
it continued in Mr. Vajpayee's time.
I don't care.
It continued in the Janata government.
No.
Let's be real.
You give me specific instances where the British are having Khalistan headquarters in London, and you are asking them for advice.
Let me answer.
And they would be interested in dividing the Hindus and Sikhs. Without any doubt in my mind, the British have always played the role of dividing India.
I'm not being melodramatic. I'm giving you facts. Yes. I'm saying that the fact of the matter is that we've had long-term links with MI6. We've had long-term links with the CIA. We've had long-term links with the KGB. On the day Mrs. Gandhi died, Mr. Kao was in China. So intelligence agencies talk to each other. We've even had intelligence links with Pakistan. Just a minute. Just a minute. According to these reports, what happened was that as a part of these intelligence links, and we kept it very close with the British, because the funding for the Dal Khalsa, the Babar Khalsa, and the International Sikh Youth Federation, they all came from the Gurdwaras in London. Second, the other part was Pakistan, where I was. And there also, there was a link up between those guys coming to Pakistan, not just from Britain, but also from Canada and US. So there was an external linkage, and it is the job of intelligence agencies to be in touch with their counterparts.
My point is, this is not a question of exchange of information.
Why? He's saying it is simple intelligence sharing.
It is a question of asking for advice on what you should do in the Golden
Having
Temple.
taken the decision. No, 1 second. There's a difference there. Indira Gandhi was not asking the British government whether she should consider the military option to enter the Golden Temple.
She asked what she should do.
No.
Whether helicopters should be used. Please see what
Just a minute. Raman has written about...
Maybe, but you read what the British Parliament has been told.
Just a minute. The fact of... Look, I'm not justifying this particular case. But it is common for us to seek security advice, not for the armed forces, for the politician to get an external understanding. That is all. The actual operation was handed over to General Brar and to the Western Command barely 3 days before or 4 days before they moved in.
I understand.
So the army was not in the picture.
General Sinha seemed to know it in March.
I can't comment about that.
That is why I'm saying you don't know the documents. I don't know the documents. Let us have it all out.
But we know the operation, sir.
You know the operation, but you don't
tell us what
you don't know what the politicians.
It doesn't have to come from his mouth as to what we did in the operation.
Of course not. I am not asking for your operation.
No, you can respond to him.
Swamy is exceeding his brief.
Why?
What is my brief? My brief is to know the truth.
No, your brief is manifold, which I don't want to meddle with.
Well, people don't know what
your brief is always political, and I'm a military man.
I know what
Let me defend the army.
Also been up
no.
There was General Sinha who said you shouldn't do it.
No. Now, Arnab, I would like to tell you.
No, you can respond to him, sir.
I can respond to him. The report presented to the British Parliament today says in 6 places that there's no link between the advice sought from the British
and the operation. That's the point.
Neither in its planning nor in its execution. It says in 6 places. Please kindly see that.
I'm not going into the rights and wrongs of whether it was right to seek that advice. But this sort of information is exchanged between intelligence agencies.
It's a common practice.
I know I can't discuss this. We have intelligence cooperation with Pakistan.
I'm asking you today a simple question. Suppose you say today that the CIA has a lot of information about Maoists in India. Right? And suppose you are to go on you want to target the Maoists in several areas or any other insurgent group for that matter. Will the Prime Minister of this country call the Prime Minister or the President of the United States of America and say, Mr. Barack Obama, I'm having a little problem here. Not just your intelligence information. Will you please fly down one of your CIA or your military advisors down here so we can chat with him on how we should deal with our people? The question is how we should deal.
Please read B. Raman's account of Raw.
You're saying
it was done by Mr. Kao. The head of the intelligence services approaching... No, look, I am not going into the politics of it. I am going into the mechanics of it.
There's a lot of meat in what Mr. Parthasarathy is saying.
He's saying that
it is a common practice between any intelligence agencies. We have also been in the military intelligence here.
And don't you provide advice to foreign military agencies?
Yes, there's a common interaction between the military agencies.
So can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
Tomorrow, if there is a problem in the United Kingdom, will the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom call the Prime Minister of India, 1 second, and say that, you know what, we think, suppose Brigadier Israr Khan has good intelligence, or will you please fly him down so he advises the British Army, or he advises our government, or he advises us on what we should do with our people? Is that conceivable? Of
No.
37 years after Indian independence.
It is not so simple as you are putting it. Arnab, there are implications to this. Firstly, why were we interacting with Britain, for that matter?
It was because of the funding.
And not anywhere, any other country. Yeah, that is
talking about.
Secondly, there is a big Sikh population in UK, and therefore there were sensitivities on the other side. And therefore, the political bosses that time may have thought it right to share it with the British government.
See, Brigadier Israr Khan...
No, I don't think she shared that she was going to do it or when she was going to do it. This was done by Cow. It's there in Raman's book. Please read it. The thing was done by the intelligence services.
No, 1 second, sir. I'll get Manjit Singh in. See, first of all, I want to preface one more thing. I have said it, I'm repeating it again. I don't take away the sacrifice, the valor, and what Brigadier Israr Khan did, or the risks that a man as eminent as General Brar did. In fact, till today, General Brar faces a threat to his life. And I respect you for it. I have said this to you. You have done commendable work, and that's all right. But the fact is that this has happened in a certain political environment. This entire debate takes place in a certain political... All we want is that the Congress party and the then government, those who were in the then government, should be honest with the people of India. If the British government can be honest on this, why can't this government be honest about it?
Let me tell you something. The way government functions, what transpired on those discussions would not necessarily be in government files.
So I don't know why the... I want the...
how the government
I have no problem.
We want to know what happened. We want to see the documentation.
I want...
Summon witnesses and ask them what they
Manjit Singh. Manjit Singh.
I have no problem with the truth.
Manjit Singh, please. He hasn't spoken yet. Manjit Singh of the Delhi Gurdwara Parbandhak Committee, please, gentlemen. Mr. Subramaniam Swamy.
Mr. Parthasarathy said that it is a normal this thing that intelligence services between the government they share intelligence. Okay, we agree. But letters from PMO to PMO is shared in the month of February in 1984. If you go through the report, in 1983, a senior intelligence person from India visited England specifically for this. My take on this is that whole of this operation was scripted. Congress had no way to win the elections. They created this situation.
So please think of the consequences of what you are saying. Let's remain to facts.
Who led the arms inside the Golden Temple? Who was responsible? It was the government's duty that they should check whatever was going on.
This argument I don't understand.
And who was supporting it from across the border?
Also in the same breath.
Nothing came across the border.
Nothing came across the border? 1 second. Brigadier Israr Khan.
It was Bhindranwala. He was outside the Golden Temple. Who allowed him to go into... He was staying outside the complex of Golden Temple. Why was he allowed inside the Golden Temple complex?
Now, Brigadier, listen.
Brigadier came only on 1st of June. Before that, what happened? How can army explain? How can army explain?
For that matter, I must have been born before you.
Yeah, now, I don't doubt it.
That time, I was commissioned into the Indian Army in February '64.
Right.
And therefore, it is 50 years that have gone past. Now, to say, if this operation had to come at this time, do you know what you are talking here is you are only helping a known Indian enemy right across Punjab. And therefore, you have to be careful.
Let me reveal your Dal Khalsa, your Babar Khalsa.
Yes.
Everybody had cross-border links. If the Thatcher Commission report is made public, they are established.
No.
thing is, it was...
Sir, he was Consul General in Karachi.
It was a deliberate attempt. Let me answer.
Sir, he was Consul General in Karachi, he knows.
Sir, it was a deliberate attempt to decimate the Akali leadership. Only...
So you're giving it a totally political spin.
No, it was all scripted, and Congress did it, and I think Army only
This is a wrong word. It was not scripted. It was pre-arranged between that demon called Bhindranwale and Pakistan.
You came in action only.
And there was a nexus between the two. And they would have been the first country to recognize Afghanistan if it had come into being.
Sir, I think
what are you talking?
You're protecting the Congress government.
No, I'm not protecting any government. I'm not a congressman.
No, sir.
Nor am I a BJP man. Please don't color me with those.
We appreciate the army.
No.
But no,
I am establishing a link between Bhindranwale and Pakistan.
Listen,
I have only
may I say one thing?
I have to take a break.
I've just one thing
What are you talking?
Anybody who says that the Dal Khalsa or Babar Khalsa or International Sikh Youth Federation
they were in constant
they had even communications.
They are
operating in
I have seen. Gentlemen, one second. Gentlemen, first of all, I'll say
what was this all about?
We're taking the discussion forward.
Country.
Brigadier, I'm taking the discussion forward. I have to take a very, very small break. I just want 3 questions. One, does the fact that advice was sought and tendered override the nature of the advice? That's my first question which I have. Second is, even if it was limited in nature, Mr. Parthasarathy, my question to you is, does it undermine my sovereignty? Now, third question is, given the sensitivity of this case, was it justified or not justified to seek this kind of opinion? And most importantly, if the people of India say today, I want to see the Margaret Thatcher Indira Gandhi correspondence.
There is none.
I want clarity. You can't just say. You can't say. You can't say there is none.
Yeah, I have no problem. I have no problem. This was handled by cow. It was not handled by Mr.
In 12 days, gentlemen, in 12 days, the British Foreign Secretary William Hague stands in the Parliament and gives a statement, Indian operation at Sri Harmandir Sahib in 1984. I want to know if they can do it in 12 days, why do I have to wait another 12 years to know the truth? I'm back in 2 minutes. And the Congress party should join this debate. I'm back in 2 minutes. No, we are extending this debate. Gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We are extending this debate by another 15 minutes, right? Because it's a very serious issue. We have proof today, the British government has officially said that we did give military advice to the Indian government. Now the argument on the other side is that this was not... No, I'm not telling him. You're saying open the files. Can we get the files? You think the government will open up the files? We need to know whether our government was allowing the British to come in and decide whether to go enter the Golden Temple.
Any government has gone is with regard to the files of the Thatcher Commission.
Yes.
Whose annexures were all very highly classified. The farthest that the government went was to allow it to be seen by select leaders of the opposition in the chamber of the Speaker.
So what do you say?
That's up to the government to decide. But in the case of the Thatcher Commission, it was agreed that the documents would be made available.
So a foreign government advises us on whether or not we should send our forces into the Golden Temple, shows either the government is completely lacking in confidence, pusillanimous and supine about the whole matter, and that 37 years after our independence, our Prime Minister, who we thought was a picture of strength after 1971, goes on and asks the British government, what should I do about the Golden Temple? This is a very serious strategic question, without disregarding the work that the army has done.
No, that's a different matter.
That's a different matter out there. Now, because it happens in a certain environment, we want the answers. So Subramaniam Swamy, you see a very sort of inimical response here from GK.
I'm not saying. I'm saying.
He's saying don't.
They don't believe in releasing secrets. But we have to do it because through the Parliament. There should be a Parliament discussion on the.
Like you had in the Thatcher Commission.
But I don't know. I'm not a bureaucrat always stuck by the last order passed by the government. I can always have a new fresh.
Politicians have the right to have new ideas, and not the bureaucrats or the army men
or
any other.
Training.
No. Now, I'll tell you something. The crux of the matter is that whatever interaction took place between the two governments or between the intelligence agencies.
So was there interaction?
No.
But of course there was interaction.
No, this is not interaction, this is advice. Military advice.
Did it have any impact on Operation Bluestar? That is the main question.
We have to find out by a proper inquiry.
No, let there be an inquiry.
Let there be an inquiry.
I'm not opposing that.
As I said,
You have 100 inquiries.
Are you for an inquiry?
I have no problem.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Work it
Let
out.
it be investigated.
You are the politician.
No, but
Work it out.
on the part of the Indian Army, I can assure you 100% that there was no intelligence sharing, there was no information
How can
sharing.
there not be?
There was,
I don't understand.
It might have been at the Sundarji level, he doesn't know.
No, how
No,
does
no.
How does,
We'll find out. That's all I'm saying.
I don't-
But sir,
you cannot say that I knew everything.
I have got orders from General Sundarji and General Barar.
You got orders
and,
only.
And General Sundarji himself was not having any plan of his own. He left it to General Barar to work out a plan and let him know on the 3rd of June.
no, the critical question is, and my question to General Brar is this, that General Brar, a British military advisor comes to India on the express instructions of Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher gets a letter from Indira Gandhi. She sends a British military advisor here. He spends at least 10 days here. He's advising the special group on contingency plans, drawing up plans on how to, what should be done, etc., including ground reconnaissance. I find it impossible to believe, and I'm not a military expert at all, but common sense, I find it impossible to believe that he's advising us without having intricate details of our military setup. General Brar, our military setup, our forces on the spot, our information on how many people are holed up inside. In other words, we would have opened up our entire intelligence information to a foreign power. What concerns me is that in the name of intelligence sharing, General Brar, we possibly have just, in a supine, obsequious manner, opened up all our secrets to the British 37 years after independence. What is your view on that if that happened, regardless of what you did?
I don't know what secrets have been opened up, Arnab. The fact of the matter is that if this so-called agent or officer from the British government came a few months before Operation Bluestar, I would say it must have been in March or April, then he has spoken to someone in the government, either to the intelligence agencies or to the RAW or to the PMO. He has not spoken. He has not spoken to the military authorities, and no information about his visit has been passed on to us.
Sure, but your government at that point of time probably used the advice of the British to indirectly give you the green signal on what you should be doing. How do you feel about that, General Brar?
That is a conjecture. From what I've been watching on media all these few days,
how is it a conjecture?
the advice
the
was
British have said
not
so
to
in
launch a
Parliament.
military operation. They may say so. The fact is, what I've been hearing is that they advised, or the advice they gave was that a military operation should be at the last resort. Well, it was the last resort. Mrs. Gandhi was negotiating with all the functionaries till the last minute. It may be
advisory, it may be... No. Who are they? My point is, sir, I am asking you, who are the British to give us military advice? That's it. It's not just another intelligence officer. It's a military officer who comes to give military advice. That's the point tonight, and that's going to become controversial. That's why we want that correspondence, the details and every single aspect of what happened in those days to be put under scrutiny. Who are they to give us military advice? Manjit Singh, isn't that the moot point here?
You must get it.
Yeah, I think
We must get that.
it
You
is
must
the question
get that
of
correspondence
security,
because there's no
and
question.
Of course, and that's it. See, General Brar himself, supports the disclosure.
Open up the file.
So my question is,
but why are we reluctant for it? We must open up the file. The facts should be clear. What was the role of Indian government? What is the role of the British government? And to what extent they both of them went together for this operation?
And a government which was abetting Khalistanis by allowing them to run a headquarters there, including passports and currency. And I remember in Parliament in those days, there was a constant protest.
Now who's indulging in conjecture?
What conjecture?
Your conjecture that you are saying the same, you're saying the Indira Gandhi government was allowing the Khalistanis to print Khalistani currency?
No, British government, and you are consulting them. The British government in London had the Khalistani headquarters. Sanjay Jha was there as president of Khalistan. He was issuing currency notes.
You don't find that ironical as well as oxymoronic that should be happening here, Mr. Parthasarathy?
Look, governments function at various levels.
Governments can do anything.
Governments function at various...
How can you say that?
Just a minute. Firstly, there is no question that we objected several times at that point in time, I remember, to the activities of Manjit Singh GK. In fact, he used to come to Pakistan and meet Ziaul.
So were the British supporting them?
Without them, how can he stay?
I find it strange. Does the Indira Gandhi not know?
Just a minute. I don't rule... Look, I am not justifying this request for assistance on the military side. All I am aware is that there was intelligence sharing.
Why would
not at the Prime Minister level.
No, it was the level.
It was on the Prime Minister level.
No, just a minute.
No, when Indira Gandhi wrote to Margaret Thatcher...
Has there been any document, any communication which says that there was a direct communication between Mrs. Gandhi
Yes,
and...
Yes, there are papers released by the British government. Absolutely. That's the root of the controversy. Yes, there are those papers.
All right.
No, this report doesn't say
No, not this report.
Earlier the papers are...
I'm sorry, the news report we ran 4 weeks back.
All right.
We had the letters from 10 Downing Street on the meeting, on the letters from there on that show.
Let me complete. Under the 30-year rule, they can release it.
So release it. So they released it. Now we want to know the truth from our side.
Exactly.
Sure, if there are documents.
We want to know, Mr. Parthasarathy, whether...
I am saying I am all for transparency. Go ahead.
No, I am not. Again, I'm not saying anything about the military officers. But
let me make one thing clear here.
Yeah.
This is opportune time. General Arun Vaidya, late General Arun Vaidya, who was the then Chief of Army Staff.
Yes.
And the Army Commander, Western Army, General K. Sundarji, the topmost officers of the Indian Army who were in the know of this operation, never asked the government to give them expertise, advice or any military contact with the British.
That's your
word. If they didn't need it, who would give it to them?
That is your word.
How do you know that?
It is not my word, sir. It is the truth.
I am not the truth.
Yeah, watch it.
I am saying that all these opinions have their own value in the sense that these people were in key position. But we need to know the way the British government has dealt with it.
So you need to know the political aspect of it. Go ahead and do it.
What do you mean by political? If it's a document, we need to know. We want to know what the government of India did.
Politically between two governments, they are. They should open it up.
Of course.
That's all I'm saying. Precisely.
That's all I'm saying.
A large number of documents.
That's what you have been denying.
Under the 30-year rule.
Now, whether it's 30 or 20 or 15,
no, sir, I'm not.
It doesn't matter.
I'm saying that it must come out now. That it has become a
let it come out. Let it come out. Let it come out.
First of all, if there are such documents in the PMO or elsewhere, fine.
What do you mean if? There is a question is when you only know when there is an inquiry. Otherwise, how will you know?
I know that Cow was in touch with them, and
no,
Cow
so it may not be in the PMO, but it would be in the RAW. You dig it out.
So
RAW is directly reporting to the Prime Minister.
Exactly.
So you see, General Brad wants to come in. Yes, General Brad. Yes, General Brad.
Yeah. Arnab, I feel the files need to be opened. If some advisor has come and given some advice to the government, what was that advice? What happened to that advice? Was it rejected? Was it approved? Was it sent into the waste paper basket? Where was it passed on to? What was the ultimate disposal of that advice? Because that advice has not reached either General Vaidya or General Sundarji or me. And the operation has been launched without any such advice coming to our notice. So open up the files. You'll get to the bottom of the truth.
Sir,
who were these people? Who did they talk to? What was the advice?
I ask you something. I'm glad you're saying let there be full disclosure. What you're saying, let there be full disclosure. And your word today will act as a pressure point on this government. and the Congress party, if you are saying as the head of Operation Bluestar, I say your word, and if Brigadier Israr Khan say, I said as one of the two people who are leading Operation Bluestar, you say we want disclosure, that's going to be the pressure point on the Congress party. But my question to you, General Bra, is another level. I'm intrigued here that Indira Gandhi did not know that Margaret Thatcher was indirectly allowing the pro-Khalistani elements to operate. Why would she then seek the...
Everybody knew. But they were operating in UK was known.
No, but then isn't it surprising
that they were sending funds to Pakistan was known.
No, but yes, it was known. But then the question is, if it is a known fact, Mr. Parthasarathy, why would you, if you know, if you knew that person X is helping the enemy, would you call person X and say, send your military advisor to tell me what I should do in my home?
Only if whatever files are there, I doubt very much if all this will be in the files. You ask for it. You ask for it.
Have support open disclosure instead of giving all these
support disclosure.
Bureaucratic English. You see, you say straightforward. I support full disclosure.
Whatever files are available, fine. Because I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
But
having been in government,
I may be wrong.
Because much of this is not recorded.
What he said? Yes.
Arnab, I may be wrong, but my hunch is that Mrs. Gandhi has never got in touch with the British government asking for help or assistance or advice.
So are the British lying?
If anything has happened.
Why would the British lie? Why would their papers be false? I have 30-year-old documents which talk about 10 Downing Street getting a request from our Prime Minister, The name of Indira Gandhi is recorded.
Arnab,
why would they lie?
I'll answer
why
that.
would they lie? Someone tell me why they would lie.
I will answer that. That would have been conveyed by cow.
In my opinion, it would be the intelligence agencies or the raw.
I have not heard of that.
Don't do this.
I cannot imagine.
You shut up now.
I cannot imagine Mrs. Gandhi asking.
You can do what you like, but you cannot go on giving explanation when it is on the floor of Parliament, when it is already in the public domain that a letter was written by her under signature, and you say, I think it was a cow.
He did reply. Let him reply. He has a right to reply.
Let him go on record. He says there is no such letter.
There is no such letter from her.
What no such letter?
Ask her, dear Margaret, will you kindly help out? No such letter.
There is a letter from 10 Downing Street, Mr. Parthasarathy, which says Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, has asked for assistance. We are responding.
Through cow, not herself.
But the British have documented it.
Where is the letter from her? Have they produced
I cannot.
Well, exactly
I cannot believe.
Then why doesn't
listen?
Then why doesn't our government call the British High Commissioner tomorrow and object? Say you are defaming our Prime Minister.
Let them do it. I have no problem.
You think they should do it?
Yeah, why not?
If they are accused,
if the government feels strongly, yes.
You open up the raw files.
If the government feels strongly.
Open it up. General Bra says open it up. What's it, General Bra?
Open up the raw files. Oh no, I'm saying open up the raw files. Because I agree with Mr. Parthasarathy that Mrs. Gandhi would not have written to Margaret Thatcher. It would have been Cow and the other intelligence agency chiefs. It would have been at their level.
Exactly.
So,
now, ask them, check their files, check their records.
You know, all I'm saying is disclosure. And if all of us feel, because every person on the panel today says disclosure. If we all feel disclosure is the way forward, and if the government of India feels the British government is lying, the government of India should be honest to its own people, look them in the eye and say the government of the United Kingdom is lying, and we will take them if required to the highest court in the world because they are defaming our Prime Minister. If they don't do that, then the question will be on our own government. And we here at Times Now intend to ask our own government a few questions on this. Gentlemen, I thank you very much for joining me on that debate. Let there be full disclosure. Thank you for joining us on this debate. We'll follow this up tomorrow. It's been a pleasure and a privilege bringing the news to you once again, and I'll see you tomorrow 9 p.m. on the News Hour. Good night and goodbye.